this video, I will be discussing God Save the Animals by Alex G, released in September of 2022. Alex G uses religious metaphors to discuss morality, identity, and the uncertainty of life. This album originally received a lot of criticism from fans, as it is his first album he released after his main spike in popularity from TikTok. However, it has also received a lot of praise as one of Alex G's best albums, and of course, I would agree with that. I love Alex G. Anyone that knows me knows that I love Alex G. So I'm super excited to discuss some of my favorite songs and share my thoughts and ideas about his music. As a disclaimer, I will be discussing these things from my perspective, how I perceived them back when the album was released, and how I've grown to love the album even more over the past 3 years. Everything I'm discussing is not endorsed by Alex G himself, rather my interpretation of his music and the experience of being in the Alex G fandom since 2020. Alex G in nature is very mysterious. I recall when I originally discovered Alex G, it was hard to find content that was related to his music, and even harder to find content directly from Alex. He isn't the typical 2025 indie artist. He remains a mysterious figure for many of his fans. He doesn't participate in a lot of interviews or post on social media apps other than to promote his tours and music releases. In the interviews that do exist, Alex doesn't go too deep into dissecting the actual lyrics. Actually, a lot of the time, it seems like Alex makes a lot of musical choices just based on what he thinks sounds cool, not to necessarily say something pivotal or groundbreaking. With so much mystery, there's a lot of speculation and thought to be had about his music and Alex himself. In my opinion, this seems intentional. My speculation is either that Alex doesn't love being a public figure, he's in it for the love of the game, not the fame. And I think this makes it really beautiful because it allows his music to speak for itself. His work is intentionally abstract and at times hard to follow, granting the listener the joy of attaching their own meaning to his art. I cannot say for certain what Alex was thinking or meant to say in GSTA, but I can discuss my own thoughts, speculations, and the value that I find in his music. Without further ado, I'll get into the analysis. Part 1. Mission. Mission, the third song of the album, is perhaps a bit more reminiscent of Alex's previous music. It has the acoustic guitar, the melody, and the nostalgic vibes. In my head, this song feels like a conversation between Alex and his conscience. The lyrics read, "I've run the whole world round, too late to slow down now. I'm not the man you've been missing. I was trained to stick for the mission. I was trained to keep it on track. I was asleep like a child. I walked the idiot mile. I flinched at the switchblade switching. I did good, I stayed out of the kitchen. I did good, I kept it on track. Hey, look in the mirror. Ain't gonna right your wrong with a stupid love song." The lyrics in quotes are sung in higher voice, likely with a filter of some kind. This operates as Alex's conscience. When Alex says, "I did good, I stayed out of the heat, I kept on track," the voice almost says in response, "Hey, look in the mirror. Ain't gonna right your wrong with a stupid love song." To say, "Hey, look what you've done. You're still a bad guy. Even after your mission, even after you stayed out of the heat and kept on track, you can't fix what you've done." Perhaps the voice could even act as a voice of God, an unforgiving voice that holds you accountable, a voice that scares you, a voice that hurts you. This parallels the oppressive nature some may feel from a divine power, to keep you in line, keep you on track, at least in my opinion. But it also parallels the way we define our own morality. This is a constant and never-ending fight, the fight between you and yourself. Part 2. SDOS. In SDOS, we can really see Alex demonstrating this "I did it just because it sounds cool" type of creation. After many fans speculated on what SDOS possibly stands for, Alex said, "Originally, I wrote a song using the initials SDONS, but I didn't like the lyrics, so I changed them. However, I thought the sound of the letters SDOS was interesting, so I kept them. It's not an abbreviation for anything, it's just a meaningless string of letters." So, we do know for sure that my interpretation is not quote-unquote canon, but in the spirit of exploration, let's imagine that they do hold a deeper meaning. Fans have speculated that SDOS stands for Single Design Operating System, which I love. And when we consider this as the title of the song, the lyrics can take on a whole different meaning. In my interpretation, I imagine that the SDOS, the Single Design Operating System, can be used as a placeholder for the self. In this song, we picture ourselves as a single design operating system. where we're born, we have a purpose, and then we die. The lyrics alternate between naked in my innocence, entangled in my innocence. To me, these lines emulate the feeling of innocence and purity strived for within religious institutions. In Christianity, it's our state before sin, almost as a clean slate, free from sin and free from disloyalty to God. Alex then declares, God is my designer, Jesus is my lawyer. As to say, God made me, and Jesus is who I use to justify and affirm my actions. The song feels like surrendering to God and acting in the vein of Jesus. As a good Christian would do, the self, SDOS, lives in a state of submission to God, living to fulfill their single ultimate purpose, naked in their innocence and living by the word of God and Jesus, clean from sin and disloyalty. In the comments on the YouTube official audio, one commenter states, honestly, IDK if it was intended this way, but it really portrays a side of my religious trauma really well, which completely affirms my interpretation. I imagine this parallels the morality I discussed in my section on mission, the feeling of submission or deviance from God, the fight between yourself for morality. This song seems to affirm the surrender to God, or morality as a whole, to claim, I am innocent, and I live as one with God. Part 3. Blessing. Blessing released 5 months before the original album, GSTA, in May 2022. Upon its release, it was paired with a psychedelic music video featuring Alex and his fellow bandmates. The video includes flashing lights, high exposure, and bright colors. Admittedly, when I first heard the song, I kind of hated it. It was much more upbeat than Alex's previous releases. It seems to amplify a sort of celebratory feel. The song opens with a loud, beaming electronic noise. It then follows a harsh bass line and a catchy guitar riff. The lyrics are much more rhythmic than melodic, and I think that's what originally threw off a lot of fans, such as myself. It's much more chanty hip-hop rather than Alex's usual melancholic melodies. Alex repeats the same verse twice. Every day is a blessing, as I rise through the mud. If I live like the fishes, I will rise from the flood. Then the song ends. That's it. But with such a short verse, there's a lot of possibilities we can imagine. In my experience, I find the song to be a blissful, pun intended, reminder to Alex and his fans that in the end, it's going to be okay. He claims, every day is a blessing, and I will rise from the flood, to say, I'm grateful, and I will always be okay. After 3 years, this song might be my favorite song off of the album. I've learned to love the harsh sound and intense chants. They evoke a rejoicing tone, almost as a break from his previous music. A triumphant chant to say, look at me now. I could honestly talk about this for hours. The world of Alex G is such a rich and abundant place for pondering. Whether or not you think I just thought too deeply about Alex G, or you also enjoy indulging in the unknowledgeable investigation of Alex's music, I think it's a journey worth going on. I'm of the belief that art was meant to be interpreted rather than set in stone. While it is important to acknowledge the artist, it can be fun to entertain your own interpretations of the art.